Well, here we are once again. Good morning to all of you. Good morning, and good mornings. This is yours truly, Professor Dr. Michael Freeland, and I'm right back here in the seat once again to talk about some of these things that seem to matter most, and that is your mental real estate. Where is the state of your mentality right now? Isn't it something how we talk about mental real estate, but I rarely ask you the question, what is your state of mind? At this moment in this time, and no matter what you've been through the weekend, how do you evaluate that process for you when understanding your mentality, when understanding your mental real estate and that state of mind that you carry? Because you know what is very important. Today is no different. We're here to talk about some of the things that seem to matter the most, and that is the thing that you have and that I have, that we both possess, that mental real estate. But what I can say before I even get started is, how was your weekend? Did you get an opportunity to spend time with somebody that you love? Did you spend time with somebody that loved you back? Did you get a chance to grow and learn from somebody else that was going to do something that was going to enrich not only your life, but the lives of others around? So I'm going to get right to this thing, because today is no different as we continue to talk about this thing called mental real estate. Mental real estate is designed for you. Mental real estate is designed for me. Mental real estate goes to the world, and it talks about many things. But one of the things that I love, the key aspect of mental real estate, is discussing that positive and negative contributor to your mindset. Now, how many times have you ever asked yourself, what is the positive and negative contributor to my mindset? It's something about how that mindset really works and how it shifts based on circumstances and situations. But today we're going to dig right in just a little bit and talk to you a little bit more about this thing called the perspective, the positive and negative contributors to your mindset. Welcome to Monday Mental Real Estate. I'm yours truly, Professor Dr. Michael Freeland, here to talk to you about this great thing that we're talking about today. So let's dig in. Life applications. Love life applications. Every single time I love life applications. Now, why is it so important for us to have this life application? Because you know what? It builds the connection from what I share and what you know. Let me say that again. It builds the connection from what I share versus what you know. But this life application was special because I can remember those times of being a child. I love being a kid. There's so many stories I have about being a kid. We just can't tell them all. But I love this one because talking to my cousin the other day, and I was reminded about what it was like when we were all kids. And I can remember, now let me tell you, I have an auntie that was no nonsense. She was absolutely no nonsense. And when I tell you no nonsense, that's exactly what I mean. That means she would tan your hide if you didn't do right. She would get at you if you cut up. She would correct you when you were wrong, discipline you when you needed it. And she did not spare the rod to spoil the child. Now, this particular time, I can remember my cousins was in the vehicle where we spent a lot of time at church. So we was actually at church at the time, and I can remember, now just as based off of my understanding, I can remember the story of how my cousins was in church or wherever they were acting up. I think back that time it was at a whole different location than where we are now. But check this out, guys. They were cutting up. And I mean, they were cutting up. And they had my auntie so furious. Are you listening to me? Now, back then, I think my auntie owned one of them big Harvey Griswold station wagons. Yeah, if y'all gotta know what I'm talking about. Them old Griswold station wagons. The ones that had the seat that faced out the back window. Yeah, one of those. Now, I can remember that because we didn't have much back then. But they got the cutting up. And it upset my auntie so bad she was completely angry. Now, we was clear across town, but at the same time, I can remember that my cousins had let me know, said, my mom made us walk home. Now, here it is. If you've ever been made to walk home, you don't understand where they're putting you out at. You don't understand where they tell you to walk from. But that's not the clincher. The clincher is that auntie said, y'all gonna walk home. Yeah, y'all gonna walk home tonight. Did you hear what I said? Not today. Tonight. Y'all gonna walk home tonight. Now, here's the clincher. Is not only did she say, y'all gonna walk home, but here's what she said. Now, this is cold-blooded, man. We grew up at a different time, y'all. Not only did she say, walk home, she said, and you better beat me there. Now, listen, she got a whole car outside. But when she told them, y'all want to cut up? Y'all want to act silly? Huh? That's what y'all want to do? Okay, I got something for you. Y'all gonna walk home. And of course, at first it was like, okay, no big deal. Okay, I got it. But when she said, and you better beat me there. Oh, that changes the whole narrative, right? Changes the whole narrative. So listen, I don't need to tell you that my cousins had no choice but to hightail it. And that means get on the good foot. That means get your wheels in motion. Because if she said, now listen, now this is a different level of respect. Because if somebody told you to do something, you better do it. Because if you didn't, there was consequences on the other side. Now, what would it mean to have to go all the way home after I told you to walk home and get all the way to the house, and then I'm sitting there waiting on you, and I told you to beat me there? Now, not only did you walk home, but chances are you getting ready to get the full disciplinary action once you get there, all because you didn't beat me there. But check this out. Did they get there? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you in. I would assume, I could only assume Auntie probably pulled back a little bit and said, let me run to the store and let me go stop by here and drop something off real quick, and gave them enough time to get there. Now, this is what I love about mental real estate, because there's aspects, concepts, but there's also perceptions. Getting an opportunity to talk to you about this darn perception. Check this out. She told them to get home, walk yourself home tonight. That means it was at night when she said that. I can only assume that we was down over there at First Church, and you know, in First Church, we all cut up, including me. But this was not my problem. It was theirs. Told them, y'all better go home, and you're going to go home on foot. I'm not driving you, and you better beat me there. Did they get there? I would assume they did. They're still alive today, so I assume they did. But listen to this. A lot of times, and this is your mental real estate, a lot of times we see that whole thing called the direction. Now, here it is, but there's directions and there's paths. That means I told you to get home. Now, if you know that you're supposed to be getting to a certain location, they say the shortest route is the most direct route, right? That's what they say. Now, listen, as my cousins did this, they was on borrowed time, which means they didn't have a lot of it, and they had to get from one side of town. Now, I'm not talking about 3 blocks away either. One side of town to the other side of town and get to that house before Auntie got home. Now, here it is. Now, you might have knew the direction, because from the point A that you're standing, and you got to get all the way to point B, as I said before, the shortest route is what? The most direct route. Now, if you have to take that route, then that's going to create something that we call the path. Now, the path is what you deal with. The path is what you understand. The path is where you come from versus where you're going. But listen to this, y'all. They got to the point where they had to go. Now, I asked you, did they get home? Do you think they got home? Now, the thing is, their life was in jeopardy. I ain't gonna lie. We were kids, so anytime it was a lynch, it was a killing. It's not because she was gonna hurt somebody that bad, but we were scared of getting them whoopings, y'all. We were scared to get that discipline. But here it is. They made it. But here it is. What you didn't understand is the path. The path, now I'm laughing so much because I'm trying to dig this in, because the path is what's going to help you understand when I talk to you about that direction. Because we see people get from point A to B, but we don't always understand the path that it takes to get there. Now, let me enlighten you now, because I'm ready to tell you, is that what you don't know is that when my cousins were told, you better beat me home, they had to go the most direct route. And the most direct route that they had to walk or run that they took to get back to that house took them right through a cemetery. It took them right through a cemetery. Now listen, I'm laughing because I didn't have to do that. That was on them. You know, and that's funny, when we kids, we gonna laugh at y'all because y'all was stupid enough to do it. Now y'all gotta pay the consequence. I'm cracking up. So they had to walk or run through a cemetery to get there. Now, we're not even talking about back then how many streets you had to cross, how many fences you had to hop. Yes, we had to run through people's backyard, because I said to you before, the most direct route is the shortest. The most shortest route is the most direct route. So they had to go through the cemetery, and that was not a small cemetery. It's still probably one of the biggest cemeteries in Topeka, Kansas. They had to run through that, cross these streets, get through these neighborhoods, climb these fences, run under these bridges, get down the streets, run through the ghetto, of course, because we lived in a low-income area, run through the hood, as they said, and get all the way to the house and try to get there on time. So why are we talking about this whole thing when it comes to having to get your tail home, and you better beat me there? Because your mental real estate is something that we might get, but others don't understand. Okay, so bring it in a little bit, Dr. Freeland. Professor, what are you talking about? I'm talking to you about something that really matters, because just because people may have your direction doesn't mean that they understand, or that you will understand the path that it took for them to get there. Now, let me tell you something, because me as a professional, me as a professor, me as a DJ, I've done so many different things, but at the same time, how did I get here? I can remember when I first gave my life to Christ, and one of the things back then I used to do is I DJ. I've been DJing since I was 19 years old, but when I gave my life to Christ, I was 20. One of the first things that they told me is that we're going to get rid of all of this secular music. Listen to me now, because I come out of Pentecostal church and Church of God in Christ, and these are firm beliefs that they may have had back then. So what they said, we're going to get rid of all of this secular music. We want all of you to bring your secular music into the church, and we're going to stomp this stuff out. We're going to get rid of all this worldly music. Now, here it is. A lot of them did it, but guess who's the one that decided not to do it? I said, I can't do that. Why did I do that? Because there's something about the music that I love so much that would mean stomping out my history, stomping out my potential future, stomping out something that I really truly believed in. So when it came around and it was my turn, I had denied it. I refused it. Yes, I got talked about. Yes, I got scrutinized. Yes, people talked about me because they didn't understand my path. They only knew the direction. But let me help you understand something. Not only did that help save me, but it helped me save others, because that's something about music and what it does to people, that I'm able to collaborate that to help people understand more, not only about themselves, about their feelings and the connections that they may have, but listen to this. It was on my path. They thought that I jumped off of the direction, but it was on my path. But if I was on my path, why would I openly, defiantly refuse to do what is asked of me? Because they didn't understand the path. They only knew the direction they was giving me. But I couldn't do it. But here I am nearly 35 years later, and that one decision that I made helped me get to the position that I'm in, still as a DJ. But let me tell you that DJing led me into the place that I am right now. Not only the book, not only Free Your Land, developing your mental real estate, but it helped me to get to a position where school became relevant. Now that's funny, because here I am in my 50s, well into my 50s, but nobody would have told you when I was 19, 20 years old, when they told me to stamp out something that was going to become my pathway to the future that leads me to this place right now with you, is that it came in a different way. How many times have you been, now this is your mental real estate, how many times have you come across people, or even maybe yourself, where life seemed to be a little bit different? Life wasn't like everybody else. You wasn't built like that. But listen, it's something how God can take somebody, shape them and mold them. And see, God works in eternity. We work in time. So if we're working in time, we think that if it's not relevant in the time frame that we see fit, then it's a failure. I'm here to enlighten you today. Because the enlightenment is in your mental real estate, as well as other people, is that they have a path that has been set before them. Now, let me tell you something, because my path wasn't easy. My path took me through a lot of things in which we don't even have enough time to get into right now. But I want to help you understand that the pathway that is set before others is the path that God chose for them. And as long as they stay on that path, they're going to find the destination along that path. But it doesn't mean that we have a right to choose how long this path takes. How many times have we been guilty because we gave you a direction and you didn't do what I said for you to do? And because I didn't see the fulfillment of the direction I was giving you, you didn't understand exactly where I believe you should be. But let me give you an enlightenment today. It's not up to you. If you gave a direction, and you might have prayed over that direction, as long as that individual is on that path that God sets before them, it will not fail. Now here, I said it will not fail, but I didn't say that path was going to be easy, did I? what I want you to get this is some people will go through. Now here it is. This is your path because this was mine. Some people will go through hurt. Some people will go through depression. Some people will go through abuse. Some people will go through addiction. Now, is this on your path? Some people would say no. Why would this be on my path? Because everything that is along your pathway doesn't always mean you good, but it's destined for you to go through that path to get where? To the other side. How do you get to the other side unless you stay on that path? Now, where we go wrong is a lot of times along that path, we will jump off when we see that abuse coming. We will jump off when we see that direction that's coming. We don't want to go. We'll jump off when someone tells us this is what's best for you. But a lot of times we know we might be running into a brick wall, and sometimes we can't see ourselves getting across the street to the other side. Just as I told you, my cousins got told to walk home from the church because they was acting up, and Auntie said, you better beat me home. But the shortest path is the most direct path, and the most direct path that they could take was taking them directly through a cemetery. But if I told you before, as I started, if they was walking through a cemetery, you would say, no, not me. Not me. I ain't walking through no cemetery at night. Just to get home. I'll take a whooping when we get home, but I'm not walking through no cemetery. But that's what they had to do. So when it comes to the direction in people's lives, listen to me. I'm well into my 50s, and a lot of people that knew me knew that it wasn't easy for me to get here. That means the road was not easy. But listen, if you don't believe that he brought you this far to leave you, then why would you stay? Why would you get off of the path that was created for you? Others may give you the direction, but they don't understand your path. Your path may take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, but you are directly on your path. Listen, if you have not failed and you're on your path, if you have failed and you've gotten up and you're still on your path, if you've seen things in front of you fall to your feet, but you're still on your path, you've seen the depression, you've seen the loss of life, you've seen the people you care about talk badly about you, you've seen all these things, but you're on your path. If you're on your path, stay on your path, because listen, as I said, God works in eternity. We work in time. If he's working in eternity, we don't know. We seem to think that if it doesn't show up for us in 5 years, oh my God, we failed. I tried it, but I don't know how much time I got, so I got to do something different. No. Stay. Listen to me. The key word today is stay on that path. Stay with what God has given you. Stay. The thing is, you won't know, because sometimes everything looks so devastating, you don't realize you are still on your path. But you'll believe that it is destruction. When it comes, then it's going to be something that's going to help elevate you. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you a little bit tougher. It's going to make you have more endurance. It's going to help you to understand perspective. It's going to give you a mentality that's going to help you endure, persevere. It's going to do all of these things. But listen, where would you be if you were not on your path? Would it be here? Would it be right now? If you weren't on your path, would you be right here, right now, listening to what I got to say to you on a Monday mental real estate, talking about your perspective of thought, when your perspective of thought is everything that incurs what I'm talking to you about? Listen, y'all, I can give you a direction, but I could never understand your path. And back then I was given many directions, but they didn't understand my path. Some people will give up on you, but what say you on your path? Some people will turn their back on you, but what say you on your path? Some people will throw you away like old trash, but what say you on your path? Your path was not designed for others to understand. Your pathway is complicated. Your pathway is different. Your pathway is constructed only for you. Because God said, if I need you to get from there to here, this is where I need you to go. This is what I need you to do. This is what I need you to endure. This is what I need you to sacrifice. This is what I need you to leave at the altar. This is what I want you to put on the table. These are who I need you to connect with. And when I connect you with these people, stop thinking that the people that you're connected to is going to be always. There are people that you will connect to because I need you to get from this place to meet this person to that person. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you don't respect or care for them, but there are people that will get saddled by relationships than understanding your relationship to what God has for you. Because when God has something for you, didn't they say it's for you? But if you're not willing to take those steps, if you're not willing to stay on your path, you're going to miss what he has for you. Now, the great thing about it is he knows. He's like, oh, here we go again. Oh, you done stopped up, huh? Like going to the gas station. You just had to go in there and get a pop and some chips, right? Okay, I'll wait for you. But I ain't gonna wait for you too long. If I told you to do something, that's just like my auntie said, get your behind home and you better beat me there. If I tell you to do something, you might want to do it. So when the Lord speaks, you better have an ear to hear what he's saying. Now, here's what I'm saying. I'm not warning nobody. I'm not trying to caution nobody. I'm just trying to help you understand that when it comes to the direction and the path, it's totally different. You may give a direction, but you don't really understand how that path is for that individual because everybody's path is not the same. If it was just the same as going to take a driving test at the DMV, cool. Everybody gets it, right? Everybody gets it. But if it was different when it comes to the complications of life along that path, if God is trying to get you to a certain place, if he's trying to move you from one direction to another, there's certain obstacles you're going to have to go through. Because when I told you they had to walk home and they had to beat my auntie home, I didn't tell you that they was going to have to run through a cemetery. I didn't tell you they was going to have to cross many streets. I didn't tell you they was going to have to hop many fences. I didn't tell you they was going to have to run through one of the dangerous neighborhoods in Topeka, Kansas. I didn't tell you that. All you knew is that there was a direction given and they had to get there. But when it comes to your life and your mental real estate, let me plead with you to be a little bit understanding because some of us have turned our backs. Some of us have looked the other way. Some of us have given up the hope that we had. It's going to sound funny for our children. That's right. For your kids. Not only for your kids, maybe on yourself. You never lose what God's given you. You just fail to activate it. If he's giving you something special, it's directed to you because it's for you. And if it's for you, it's going to come with the direction. And when you open those directions, it's going to say, hey, when you're done, meet me over here. Okay, I'm on my way. But the minute you start walking this thing out, when you start walking this life out, when you start walking your faith out, when you start walking your spirituality out, when you're a Christian and you start living your life, no matter what your religion is, when you start walking in your faith, when you start walking in that, you're going to come across cemeteries. You're going to come across, there's some folks out here walking, but they dead. You're going to come across people who have barriers built up, hopping those fences. You're going to come across those barriers where people won't let you on the inside, where you know you got to cross over to get from point A to point B. You're going to come across those dangerous neighborhoods when there are people who want to take your life than to see you succeed and get to your final destination. You're going to come to that. But that's because you are destined to stay on your path. And if you stay on your path, meet me over here on the other side. Yeah, when you come across that finish line, you're going to be tired. Yes, you're going to get whooped. Yes, you're going to be totally disappointed. Yes, you're going to feel all the things that life has to offer. Yes, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be destroyed in some ways. But did you get to that finish line? When you get to that finish line, and he said, all I asked you to do was meet me over here. I gave you the direction, but I couldn't tell you the path. But I knew that if you stayed on your path, you would end up right here. Hey, listen, this is Monday Mental Real Estate with yours truly, Professor Dr. Michael Freeland. And I wanted to share some things with you guys today because I think this is very important. When we talk about the directions, when we talk about these paths that we have to walk out in this life, when we talk about how we build ourselves, but not only that, how do you build the ones that you love when they keep letting you down in your face? How do you build the ones that you love when they openly don't and dismiss what you might have to say? Even though you might know better, you still don't know their path. It took me nearly 50 years to get degrees, y'all. Thank God. I got it done. I got a bachelor's. I got a master's. I got my PhD. I got my professorship. But nobody would have told me that back then, because it was a direction that was given, and I chose to ignore that. But because I chose to ignore that, music has put me in positions that most people would never see in a lifetime. All because I stepped out on faith. I stepped out on what I believe. Others may not see your belief, but don't lose the fact that God gave you something special. And if you move in the direction that he's given you and you stay on that path, yes, it might take you a while. It might take you quite a while. It might take you a very long time. But did you stay on your path? Get from one point to the other, A to B. Listen, I may give you the direction, but I may never know your path. Take the direction that was given to you, but listen, stay on your path. God bless you all. Let me shout a few people out, because I know that folks is in here this morning. I thank you for taking the time on your Monday Mental Real Estate with yours truly, Professor Dr. Michael Freeland, doing what I got to do to help people enlighten themselves. Let me shout some folks out. Chandrika McDowell, the author. What's going on? God bless you, my sister. Continue to do what you got to do. Let's keep that book rolling, y'all. Remember, special one right there, Chandrika McDowell. That book's going to hit the shelves, y'all, and it's moving. So we're going to get this thing out, and we're going to keep celebrating others for their success. Mom Zala Coffee. Mother, how are you? I see you, Deb. Thank you so much for tuning in. My big bro, Antoine Montouk, the PA. What's going on, big bro? I appreciate you as always. Thank you for taking the time. Felicia McGlory, thank you for being in here. As always, I appreciate you. Ronnie Tisdale, what's going on, my dear? Thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking the time out today. Jetta Thompson, mother, how are you? Love you so much. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on Monday Mental Real Estate, doing this thing, helping people understand the perspective of thought. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. Let's continue to keep growing so we can keep knowing, guys. I love you all, and thank you so much for celebrating with me another opportunity to talk about mental real estate. Last but not least, my life's blood, my mother, Brenda Redmond. Mama, I love you. Thank you for tuning in as always. Thank you for your prayers, your sacrifice. Thank you for all that you do, Mama. It's good to still have my mother around, and it's nothing against anybody who's lost them. I just understand the value of what it means to have mine. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to you later. Have yourself a great day and a safe week, and stay safe. And remember, guys, stay on your path. God bless you all. We'll talk later. Bye-bye.